Dear one, I am so with you on this subject, and you might feel a bit relieved to know that this is a subject which is common to so many of us parents who are raising kids nowadays. And I think it becomes stronger and more vivid among students who are what we might call teens or approaching teens or very heavily inside teen years. I think all the questions that we all ask ourselves, where have I done wrong? What have I done that made my child behave entitled? Where can I, or how can I amend it? How can I go about it? How can I impart more responsibility for my child? How can I show my child that this is not actually as real life should be, and etc., etc. And the questions are deep, very concerning, and they are becoming almost like one of the main topics that parents of children these ages are facing nowadays. Now, I think it's important for us to go back and contemplate what of our behavior contributed to this, but only to some extent. One, and the first mostly because we need to find something to change. We need to find something that we can actually support our kids to become self-reliant, more driven, self-motivated, etc. Every child according to the things that he or she is doing in a life. So we can reflect for ourselves what are the things that we contributed to this behavior which we feel doesn't serve our children, ourselves, our community, and the world. It's always good to reflect, always good to have self-inquiries, and we will always continue doing it so we can learn not to repeat at present time and in the future. But definitely we cannot actually shrug and throw our hands in the air and say, oh, this is all what I did to my kids and now it's too late and I can't change it and this is my fault and so on, which I do hear quite a few parents, actually not a few, many parents are doing it. And my heart breaks to see it, because really the only thing that parents should not do is blame ourselves for everything which is happening in our children's life and in the world. So let's talk specifically about how we can help our kids to take more self-responsibility in their own practice. I want her to take more responsibility in her own practice. I see my girl or my son enjoying to play, and they love playing the piano, but they don't love practicing. Now, this is actually eternal truth. Many, many, many years ago, when I was a very young Suzuki teacher, and I was having lessons with Dr. Kataoka, she used to say, every child loves playing. No child loves practicing. So this is actually this is eternal truth, and I think it also applies to all of us. We like enjoying what we do. We like creating. We like exploring new things. We don't really like hard work. None of us. None of us. So, but the difference is that us adults, we have acquired this knowledge and from experience that we need to repeat things which, even if we don't do them, we need to persevere, we need to pursue a repetitive modality or repetitive practice every day. And because this is the only thing we can get good at doing anything, anything. If we, as babies, we learn to walk just maybe twice a week, or just twice a day, or just do the steps which we are successful, then we will never be able to walk as adults. So the only thing is that as adults, we acquired already a data that says practice yields success, and success yields good feeling. For children, and even for teenager children, it hasn't been registered yet in the consciousness. And even if they hear the words repeated by teachers and parents and relatives, they still will not actually believe it until they start doing it. And most likely they will get it only after a certain amount of time that they will do it. So, how can we help them do it without giving up? Without them giving up on themselves and without us giving up on ourselves? I would say that the least helpful thing for us will be to, of course, to be firm by punishing them. Two, another thing which I wouldn't recommend to do is to say, okay, because you're not taking responsibility, you're going to quit playing the piano, or I'm not going to pay for your violin lessons, or I'm not going to pay for your writing lessons, and so on. By taking away from them what we think they're going to enjoy later in life, we're not really punishing them in the current present, but we are depriving them of a gift that we know they can enjoy later in life. Now, as we do it now, in the present, they actually will just shrug and say, okay, so I won't play. So what? I won't have lessons. I'll just play for fun, because they haven't yet digested and assimilated the knowing that perseverance is important. So what we might do is actually helping them acquire it bit by bit by giving them assignments which they can cope, and making sure that they will be accountant to this, for this. And I would actually withdraw or try to do as little as possible lectures on the subject. I would find a way to validate to the child in as little words as possible, to validate to them the challenge that they are facing. No, I'm not saying it's hard to do it. I'm just saying it's hard for them to do it, because modern life has not required them to do it a lot, because everything we do today is a press of a button. If I go and be specific with a specific piano practice, when we want our children to do day-by-day piano practice, and actually to do a fruitful practice, which they usually avoid, because this is the thing which they have to stretch themselves, and they don't enjoy doing it until they see the results. What I'll suggest to do is we will be very specific, or I'll take it on myself. I'll be very specific with what I'm asking. I make sure that the child understands, and I will find a way for the child to be accounted for this way. And I will warmly suggest the parents to respond and comment when a good work is done, and when the good work is not done, maybe to say a word or two, but not to be firm with this, because in the place the children feel the challenge or the difficulty, or inside themselves they feel, there's no way I can do it. If we are becoming too firm, we might break them. So it's a very gentle, almost like walking on a fine line, like being an acrobat. We need to learn how to be acrobats, and every child will be different. So every child will need to have a different size of chunk to practice. This is my responsibility as a teacher, to find the exact chunk, and it will be a work in progress. So we will actually check things as we go. We will be open and talking. I'll support you along the process. And there's one thing that I would like to remind. which is there's one thing which is common to all of us in this team, in the Suzuki Triangle. We want the best outcome for the child. And we know that every child is different, so we will find the best way to have the best outcome for this specific child. So let's take it as an exciting journey that we're going to walk together. And thank you so much for bringing it up, because it's important. And to be continued. So much love in the meantime. Bye-bye.